All right, today we are diving into a pretty wild story. It's about a tiny, almost invisible marine worm that literally forced the entire world to change how we handle and prepare our food. This is a story about biology, sure, but it's also about history and how one little parasite completely reshaped public health. You know, we all love a gorgeous plate of sushi or a bright, fresh bowl of ceviche. But think about it. Have you ever really stopped to wonder what else might be in there? It turns out, sometimes the most important ingredient is one you can't even see. And here it is. Meet our hidden passenger, Anisakis simplex. This little guy is the larval stage, and it's the one that causes all the problems. It might be small, but believe me, its impact on human health and the entire seafood industry has been absolutely massive. So let's get a closer look at this formidable parasite. To really get what's going on, we first need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. This isn't just some random worm. It is a highly specialized and surprisingly tough little creature. So, here's the bottom line. Anisakis simplex is a type of parasitic roundworm. And when we accidentally eat it in raw or undercooked fish, it causes an illness called anisakiasis. The key thing to remember is that we are an accidental host, a very, very unfortunate detour for this parasite. Now, here's where it gets interesting from a biology standpoint. Anisakis is an endoparasite, which is just a fancy way of saying it lives inside its host. And it's also a metazoan. That means it's a complex, multi-celled animal with actual tissues and organs. We're not talking about a simple single-celled protozoan here. This is a full-on animal. And just to see where it fits in the grand scheme of things, here's its spot in the tree of life. It's in the animal kingdom, of course, the phylum Nematoda, the roundworms. This classification is super important because it helps scientists track this parasite and its relatives all over the world. Okay, now for the main event, the incredible life story of Anisakis simplex. It is a really complex, multi-stage journey that crisscrosses the entire ocean food web, starting with the tiniest creatures and ending up in the largest marine mammals. This fantastic diagram is basically our roadmap for the whole story. It shows every single step of this parasite's journey. And you can see right there, it involves multiple hosts, with humans being that accidental dead-end stop. So let's break this down step by step. So the whole cycle starts at the very top of the food chain. Adult worms are living their best life, embedded in the stomach lining of marine mammals like dolphins, whales, and seals. These are their definitive or final hosts. This is where they reproduce, and their eggs get released into the ocean through the host's feces. Okay, so once those eggs are in the open water, they mature and hatch into these tiny, free-swimming larvae. These little guys then get eaten by their first host, small crustaceans. Think krill, right at the bottom of the food web. Inside that krill, the larvae develop into their next stage, which is the one that can infect other animals. Now this is the crucial step that brings the parasite to our dinner plate. Fish and squid come along and eat the infected krill. The larvae get released, but they don't grow up just yet. Instead, they burrow through the gut wall and hang out in the fish's body. And here is the absolute key for us. After that fish dies, the larvae often move from the organs into the muscle tissue. You know, the part we actually eat. So what happens when a human being comes along and interrupts this ancient oceanic cycle? Well, for the parasite, it's a major wrong turn. And for the human, the consequences can be, well, pretty painful. So, when we eat that raw fish, the live larva suddenly finds itself in our stomach. It's totally confused. It can't complete its life cycle in a human, so it just does what its instincts tell it to do. It tries to burrow. It actually has this sharp little boring tooth at its head, and it secretes enzymes to try and penetrate the lining of our stomach or our intestine. And this little attack can lead to two very different problems. First, there's gastric anisakiasis. We're talking intense stomach pain, nausea, and vomiting that starts just hours after you ate. But what's truly mind-blowing is the allergic reaction. Some people become sensitized to the worm's proteins, and for them, get this, even eating a dead worm in a fully cooked or frozen piece of fish can trigger a reaction, from hives all the way to life-threatening anaphylactic shock. The story of how we even figured all this out is an amazing piece of medical detective work, and it all starts in the Netherlands with their national love for a certain raw fish delicacy. Back in the 1950s, doctors in the Netherlands were completely stumped by patients showing up with this horrible, sudden stomach pain. The one common link? They had all recently eaten lightly salted raw herring. Then in 1960, a researcher named Dr. Van Thiel finally cracked the case. It was Anisakis larvae in the herring. This discovery led to a groundbreaking law in 1968 that said all herring had to be frozen before being sold for raw consumption. And it worked. This one law was so effective, it basically wiped out the disease in the country. What an incredible public health victory. So, if this happens today, how do we find it? Well, the best way is with an upper endoscopy. A doctor sends a tiny camera down into your stomach and can literally see the worm burrowing into the lining. And the best part is, they can usually just grab it with a little tool right then and there and pull it out. Problem solved. For researchers, they use advanced molecular tests to identify the exact species, which helps them track outbreaks around the world. Okay, this all brings us to the most practical and important question, right? How can you enjoy your seafood safely? Well, it turns out the solution the Dutch figured out all those years ago is now the global standard for protection. Anisakis is absolutely a worldwide issue, and it's tied directly to our favorite foods. In Japan, there are thousands of cases a year linked to sushi and sashimi. In Spain, it's often from pickled anchovies. In South America, ceviche can be a source. This just goes to show you how a parasite's territory is now defined more by our global food trade than by ocean currents. So here it is, the first golden rule of prevention. This is the big one. Freezing fish to at least minus 20 degrees Celsius, that's minus 4 Fahrenheit, for at least 24 hours is proven to kill the parasite. This is exactly why almost all sushi-grade fish you buy has been flash frozen first. It's all about safety. And the second golden rule is for anyone who prefers their fish cooked. Just heat it to an internal temperature of at least 60 degrees Celsius or 140 Fahrenheit for just 1 minute. That will also reliably kill any larvae. So yeah, a properly cooked fillet is a perfectly safe fillet. We put together all the research for this explainer using a Gemini deep search. If you want to go down the rabbit hole and check out the scientific papers and public health documents for yourself, you can find a complete list of all our sources in the Notebook LM document that's linked right in the description. If you found this deep dive as fascinating as we did, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more explainers just like this one. We'd also love to hear from you. If you have any questions or thoughts about Anisakis simplex, drop them in the comments section below. And we'll leave you with this final thought. The story of Anisakis simplex is such a powerful reminder of how connected our ecosystems, our global food supply, and our own health really are. As our world gets smaller and more interconnected, the real challenge is going to be figuring out how we stay one step ahead of the next hidden passenger before it ends up on our plates. Thanks so much for watching.